What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. So over the weekend, we actually had 3 big tournaments in our standard format. We had the Portland Regionals, the Sao Paulo Regionals, and we actually had a Singapore Regional League Quarter 2. Now, this one's a little bit different, but we'll talk about this one, of course. But let's start off with Portland Regionals and talk about what are the best decks right now. So you have the top 8 decks over on Limitless, and then on PokeStats.live, if you actually go to Portland Regional, you can go here, go to Standings, and you can see pretty much all the standings and who they played against. Now, all these will not have their deck list. I don't think anybody has their deck list up right now from what it looks like. Yeah, and that's because Arcanine Stats has not posted the list. But on Limitless, what they did is anybody that posted the list, you'd actually, they took it and they put it on here. So we have Landon with the Arceus Giratina deck. We have Lugia Archeops. We have Lawson, Mutagersect, Miraidon, Flaffy, and Arceus Duraludon. Making it the top 8 spots. And I guess the interesting thing is Sableye Lawson was back. It came back into Vengeance and said, hey, we're going to, be top 3. Now, if I remember correctly, all 3 of these Lawson decks are very different. We have Grant and Manly's, which is the Dragonite Raikou version that he's been on for a good minute. We have Andrew Gantner. We have another Lawson box, but this one plays Snorlax. So it's a little bit different, a little bit of attacker there. Got the Snorlax. I'm trying to think. I thought there was one more big difference. This one plays Drapion. I don't think Grant played Drapion. Is that what it is? Yeah, so Grant did not play Drapion. This one plays Kyogre. Wow, Andrew I think does not play Kyogre. So that's the big. So that's what makes a kind of big difference here. Is Grant's playing the Kyogre Dragonite and Andrew is not. He's going for more just more big attackers kind of thing. And then Alex Shemansky came in and played a just a single prize Kyogre deck, but with Galarian Moltres. So interesting enough, we had 2 Dragonites, one without Kyogre and one with Kyogre. So, Lawson is pretty much in a weird spot. Like, there's no, clear BDIF version of Sableye and Lost Box. And we're going to hop over to Sao Paulo real quick and to show this because we see another Lost Box. But I think even this one is a little bit different. So this one, once again, is the Hawlucha build or the regular build with Drapion. So this is more like Andrew's list that we've seen. I think people would say this is more like the Australian build. There's a bunch of Australians that kind of built this list for EUIC. But let's go back to Portland real quick. So we have a bunch of Sableyes, Lawson Sableyes, and stuff like that. And first place is actually Arceus Giratina. Now, if you were to ask people, do you think Arceus Giratina would win? People would probably like, no. I would not, think that. MVP was definitely Squovit. If you watch the stream, you know what I'm talking about. The cool thing about this list, it does play Cleansing Gloves. Before the weekend, this past weekend, I was actually playing a list with 2 Cleansing Gloves and Choice Belt. I was thinking about playing it for the League Cup, but obviously I went with a different deck. If you follow me on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. But what makes Arceus Giratina so good is the deck just, uses Judge, use Path to the Peak, Judge, Path to Peak, Judge, Path to Peak, and you kind of just combo this over and over again. Make it where your opponent really can't, set up or do anything because they're Judge, so they only get 4 cards, and Path to Peak so shut down their abilities. Arceus, all it needs is 3 energies. Turn 1, as long as you attach energy, you're good to go. And even if you whiff the energy or they knock out the Arceus with the energy, you can use Raihan to get energy onto the Arceus, and then go for that Trinity Nova, start powering up your Pokemon, power up other Arceus, and maybe power up Giratina. Giratina does 280. It's just taking huge knockouts, stuff like that. Which is pretty nice. Those I was kind of struggling with was Duraludon, but maybe I was overthinking it because Duraludon doesn't hit as hard. And yeah, Path to Peak. I wasn't more worried about the Path to Peak. I was more worried about trying to one-shot the Duraludon because Giratina with Choice Belt only does 310. But that does knock out Muse and stuff too, so that's really nice. But B-Barrel's in here to help Industrial Shizers. Draw, you have 5 cards in your hand. You can do this multiple times with 2 of them. And Squovit, the Squovit B-Barrel combo is pretty cool. You get Squovit, put your hand on the bottom of the deck, draw 1 card, and then you use B-Barrel to fill your hand up to 5. It did play 2 Striker Shoes, so that's pretty cool. Just help draw through your deck quicker. And outside of that, it's just really consistent, right? 3 research, 4 boss order, 4 boss, 4 judge. I can't remember who. I think this was Sammy Sakum's deck, an older player that played at EUIC, played, I think, 4 bosses order as his list. And so we've seen this kind of 4 boss, I just want to take knockouts every single turn with boss order. No pow pad, just boss order. I'm just going to bring up, take a knockout every single turn, and that's why boss order is in here. So that's the concept behind it. Everything else is pretty standard. One switch, one escape rope. We see all the time. 4-4-4, 2 V guard is pretty normal. This is like the pretty normal build right here with the V guards to protect your Pokemon and stuff like that. Make it harder for Mew to take knockouts and stuff like that. Like a V guard under RCS is like really, really hard for a Mew to take a knockout. So that's pretty cool. The cleansing gloves are there for the psychic decks, so it's good for Mew. It's good for Gardevoir because Gardevoir is an EX, not a V, so Choice Belt doesn't work with that. So that's Andrews and Landon's list. Sorry, I think of Andrews Ganter. But second place is Reagan Resloff. Now this is the deck that I thought was going to win the tournament. Actually got second. I do think this is probably already a good answer enough for the RCS decks. If you are expecting a lot of RCS, this is probably the answer. If you watch the finals, you could just see that Reagan just dead drew, unfortunately. But it's Lugia Archeops. Lugia summons powered up the Archeops. You have different attackers, the 2 Tyranitar, the Evital, no Sojourner, but I guess you have the Urshifu instead, so that's pretty cool. Research, of course, maxes out. 2 Boss Order, 1 Serena. So you get the Boss to bring up Pokemon bench deactivate the Serena. The paintings can put 1 base Pokemon into your hand. This can heal one of your Pokemon if need be. Or if a Lumineon gets stuck in the active, you can Lumineon off the bench. So you have the 1 collapse still to bump a Lumineon if you need to. Most of us play 3 Mesagoza. We see the 3rd Mesagoza be cut for the Stadium. We do see 4-3-3-3. So it looks like the regeneration energies got cut and played a V-Guard and Gift. I still like the regeneration energies because you can swing with the Lugia V with the regenerative and then evolve into the Lugia V Star. But I understand when I have the Gift and V-Guard. Gift is so strong. It's when he judges you or something like that, and V-Guard just to help your Lugias get extra HP against Mew and stuff like that. It's hard for them to knock it out. Plus V-Guard on Tyranitar against Mew is pretty deadly. It's 260 HP. It's hard for them to knock out. Serena is there to heal. I do like the inclusion of Pumpkaboo. That's something I didn't have in my list that I played over the weekend. I really wish I had a Pumpkaboo. If I had Pumpkaboo, I would have done fairly well. Burnett's pretty much a staple now because you can eliminate off of Burnett turn 1 and be good to go. Outside of that, everything's pretty stapled. 3 urn, 4 urns, kind of up to you. Egotal is a good attacker. It has hits for Darkwing Nix, of course, against Mew, against Gardevoir, Saber Tyranitar. Urshifu is your counter against Duraludon because it's effective by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. We saw this tear through Duraludon. Unfortunately, the Duraludon player did dead draw though. And also Beatdown could just take some huge knockouts, right? And this is what I'm talking about. You already have the answer to RCS Guillotine with the Urshifu. Because Urshifu can beat down for knockout on an RCS or something like that. The G-Max 1 blow to knock out a Giratina. And then Lugia can pick up, or you get Tyranitar for the other pickup, right? So that's why the Urshifu Max is in here. Really good. The only downside about Urshifu is you do have to discard the energies, but I think the deck is super fine. We already talked about the Lost on Box decks. I don't want to dive too much into it because I don't play Lost Box as much. I'm actually going to skip 7th place because I want to hold this off for a second. And then we have Nathan Stratford playing a really interesting deck. Now, if you saw just a second ago, it's RCS Duraludon, but it's actually RCS Duraludon, Umbreon, VMAX, Lumineon, Alakazam, Hawlucha. Now, I haven't practiced this deck yet. This is probably the most wild list to come out of the weekend. This RCS Umbreon deck. Umbreon has that really cool Dark Signal. You can bring a Pokemon from bench to deactive. You do have Dark Madness, which you can hit for weakness. Own the Gardevoirs. So against Gardevoir, you can use the Umbreon. Against other special, against Lugia and stuff like that, you can use Duraludon. And then against Lugia, you can still Umbreon to bring something to deactive to take a knockout. You are using Adventure Discovery to find your V Pokemon and your V evolutions. So you can find the Umbreon and stuff like that, which is really cool, really nice. Volo is a pretty cool card. You can discard one of your Pokemon bench V, maybe Lumineon or something if you need to. 2 Choice Belt do additional damage. Lost City is really good against Sablezard or stuff like that, just to punish them. No Path to Beak, of course, but you have the Duraludon. That's why. Alakazam to heal your Duraludons, I guess. I don't know the math of Alakazam plus Hawlucha. Hawlucha, of course, hit your opponent's bench. Plus, Brady Alakazam can manipulate damage to do some extra damage. And Karen's Conviction, if you take a bunch, if you're for each card your opponent's taken, you do 20 more damage. So your Duraludons could maybe one shot something. So that's something cool. But 3/3/4 with 4. Of course, metal is the big one here because it needs 2. If you see that, it needs 2 metals. So yeah, RCS is in a really cool spot. It got first in 8, being a very drastic different list. And then you have Anthony Perez. Actually was on stream playing his Miraidon EX deck. Flaffy, Raikou, Raichu, Magnezone. Now people were thinking Andrew was in a spot to pretty much win the tournament. I don't. I think we could check over here and see who did Nathan play against. So yeah, did no. Anthony played against Grant Manley with Lost Box, and I think that's probably like your worst matchup. Now you do have Magnus on V-Star, which has that Electro Star, that's 92 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it could take some knockouts, which is nice. Does Magnus V have anything cool like that? I guess you get like Magnet Tension, the Manaphy to knock it out, and then like Splitting Beam. Because I think Manaphy only has like so few HP, right? Let me check this real quick. Yeah, Manaphy has 70, so that could work. You could bring up the Manaphy, take a knockout on it, and then evolve to the V Star and like use Electro Star. So maybe that's how you get it to the game, right? You Magnet V, Magnet Tension into Magnet V Star. Splitting Beam does 90 and 30, so not enough to knock out anything, right? I think, I think the Lost Box deck is probably your hardest matchup. What else did they play against the end of the Lost Box? They tied. Okay, so they actually tied to Andrew Ganter, tied to Alex Mansky, and lost to Lost Box. They didn't play any other Lost Box, so interesting. But yeah, Raiku's like for quick damage, only 2 energies. Miraidon's to get your lightning attackers. Flyfee's gonna power your Pokemon, like attach energy from just one of your bench Pokemon. Raichu V's for late game. It's got the dynamic spark. It does 60 times amount of lightning energy. For every lightning energy you discard. So yeah, it's like early game Miraidon for the Mareep and Raikou. Raikou starts setting up, and then late game Raichu comes in, and then Magnezone V is for the Lost Box decks. EXP share to keep energies in the field. It does play 1 Forest Seal Stone and 1 Sky Stone. I didn't notice. No, I didn't know that until I seen this list. But Forest Seal Stone is going to help you set up, and Sky Seal Stone is going to help you take knockouts. I could get like 3 price cards against like a Lugia or something like that, which is really nice. For Serena, Research, got 2 of those. Serena's interesting because it's like you could discard like lightnings and stuff to find more cards or bring a Pokemon bench deactive, which is cool. 2 Boss Order, got a little bit of Judge or Disruption. Arvin to find a tool and an item card. Now this could find 1-year stones plus like an item card. So that's really nice. 2 Escape Ropes, which is like kind of like a fake like boss order that you can use. Like somebody's axe spot you can't knock out, you just escape rope. The whole point of the deck is you just trying to bring up Pokemon from bench deactive, right? Serena, boss, escape rope, like you have 8 outs to knock out a bench Pokemon, and that's kind of where the deck kind of thrives, right? So yeah, we saw pretty interesting meta right here. I think Lugia had the highest day 2 decks, if I remember correctly. I know Lost Box had probably the worst conversion. It was like the number 1, and then like didn't have anywhere close percentage wise. I think it still was like second or third place most played deck in day 2, but it definitely dropped off a lot compared to day 1. I think Lugia actually had the most decks, and day 1 actually shot up. So I think Lugia is probably like it doesn't show like Lost Box was 308, but Lost Box was huge in numbers. I don't know if we could see stats. This is just our top 8, unfortunately. So hopefully eventually we get the stats for every player, and you can see what I'm talking about. But I know for sure. Remember, we can look at the graphics. It doesn't look that good. Hang on, let me see if I can find something real quick. Okay, so here's what I was talking about. You look at top 8 decks, like Gardevoir, 20%, and had none in top 8, so that's pretty bad. Lugia Archeops, 60%. Wrong graph. Lost One had 19% and 3, right? And then Archeops Lugia had 11%, but it had 1 there. So you can see it was the 3rd most played deck. It still had a placing there. And then when you look at the day 2 to day 1 graphic, so this is day 1, right? Guardy, Lost Zone, Lugia, and we switch it over. All of a sudden, Lugia jumps up to 16%. It goes up 5%. Now, Lost Zone did jump up to 9. It did have 31 decks. So I guess the Lost Zone did pick up a little bit more of percentage, right? 9 more percent. But Archeops, Lugia Archeops had a 5% increase, which is pretty good. I guess Lost Zone did have a bigger increase. Mew stayed the same, about 11 to 13. Arceus Giratina actually was not even on this record, right? Not even on the chart. But here it is, 6%. With Hisui and Goodra, only 6 decks. So you had 62 Goodras and only 6 of them made it. Wow, that's really bad. 120 Mew, 15 made it. So it's still same about the same, but yeah, Gujar just like super falling off, unfortunately. So I mean, I guess they're still technically there were 65 Maridon and didn't make the graph in day two. But yeah, like I said, I think I don't know. It seemed like maybe okay. Lost Walk definitely had the highest conversion rate. Gardevoir just did terrible. Went from like 220 decks to 16 in day two. That's pretty bad, and didn't make top eight at all. So there's your little graphs. I do think Lost Box is still in a good spot. Obviously, it made three of the top eights. It's gonna have to do some kind of changing, I think, to beat the RCS decks. Because like Judge is like just so bad. I think Lost Box is gonna get even worse when the new set does come out too. But let's look at Sao Paulo. We don't have a lot of information on it. All we can say is that like Lost Zone made 1, 2, 3 out of the 8. There was an Arceus Guillotina still, which is nice, and a Mew Genesect. We did have a Gardevoir that did make top 8, but that is the only Gardevoir out of the 2. Now, on PokeStats.live, you kind of see what people played against. Like, you see Landon Kettler here. Played all these different things. Played a bunch of Arceus decks, which is good. Reagan played a little bit of everything. There was a Darkrai in day 2. Get out of town. Let's go. But the big thing is, like, you can go to, let's see, Sao Paulo, and so they actually do. Oh wow! Sao Paulo has some deck lists that Limitless doesn't. Oh, okay, look at there. Oh, Sablezard. There's actually a Sablezard. I don't think it shows that here. Yeah, so Sablezard in top 8 with 2 Mew. Okay, that's right, 2 Mew. So there we go. You can kind of see who did this one lose to. Lost to Lugia Archeops. Yep, I would believe that. That's definitely a bad matchup. Lost to Mew. Yeah, it's like 50-50. Like it depends on your whatever. On your path to the peaks. But yeah, I think we learned that, Lost Box is a good spot. I think Lugia has a really good conversion rate. And I think RCS needs to be respected more, is what we kind of learned this weekend. But let's look at Singapore real quick. So Singapore is a different kind of playstyle. It's 7 25-minute best of 1 rounds, followed by the best of 3 top 16. Top 6 is played out on the first day, with the rest of top 8 and onwards played out day 2. So it's interesting. You make top 16, you lose, which I guess is nice, and you have to come in for top. You don't have to come in top 8. Or if you go to top 16, then you lose. You have to play top 8. But we see Cash didn't win with Arceus Giratina. Very, very cool. We did have a Gardevoir in second place. So Gardevoir did make an appearance here. Lugia Archeops in third place. So Lugia Archeops making it at least in top 8 in all 3. Which is nice to see. Husu Gujar did make top 4. Mew VMAX, Maridon. So we did have Maridon make 2 top 8s over the weekend. We did have a Gardevoir and Arceus Duraludon Vulpix. So another different Arceus deck. Arceus Duraludon Vulpix is definitely probably just like Alex Mancey's list. Most likely. And then you got another one, ninth place in Mew Meloetta, Italian Rapid Strike, Lost Zone Guardy, and Arceus Duraludon Vulpix. So not as much Lost Box. That is very interesting. I don't think there's any Lost Box. Now look at it. Just one right here. This is the only Lost Box. So I guess maybe in a best of 1. There's the run right now. I guess maybe in a best of 1 you don't want to play Lost Box. Maybe that's what we've come to. But yeah, congratulations, Cash, for winning with Arceus Giratina. And shout out to Felipe for winning with the Lost Box. So we had an Arceus Giratina, and a Lost Box one this weekend, with Mew coming in second. What was this one again? Lugia and Gardevoir. So different second places for sure. So, but yeah, it's cool to see RCS is doing great. I think people did not respect it as much, and that should change. Now, if you look at more standings, here we go. So you can actually see everything here. So there's a Lugia Archeops, Kyogre. I'm trying to see if there's anything cool. Oh, Isaiah made 10th place. Lugia Archeops. Let's see. There's a Sablezard. Kiana Mini made 16th place. Another Arceus Giratina. Mew all beside each other. This one says the Arceus is probably something spicy. Darkrai. Yo, let's go Gustavo. That's sick. I'm trying to think of anything. See if anything else made cut. We don't know who this player played. That's interesting. Eric played Palkia. Yo, there was a Palkia on stream too. I'm like 99% sure. That was a really cool match. The Palkia. I think we'll probably talk about that. There's Italian Urshifu. Unfortunately, did not do so hot day 2. And all the players that didn't play, that dropped pretty quickly. So, yeah, what we learned this weekend, I mean, I think Gardevoir fell off the face of Earth. Or maybe it's not as good as people think it was. I know Tord did do well with it, but maybe that was it. Maybe Tord had the spice, and now it's not as spicy anymore. Lugia's proving that it's good. RCS needs more respect, and Lost Box just doing Lost Box things and still winning. I think the interesting thing about Lost Box, we don't know what's the best build, though. I mean, Dragonite probably is the best way, but we see Grant, playing a little bit different of a Dragonite build with his, like, Kyogre in here, like his own kind of version of this. Like, this is insane. Like, both of them. You have this turbo version of Lost Box with Kyogre for late game, so it's kind of like everywhere. But guys, there we go. A little bit like all over the place, but it's cool to see Arceus Giratina winning 2 tournaments and Lost Box winning 1. So people got to start respecting Arceus Giratina more. They got to. They have to, right? It's obviously really good. So we did see Landon tie and lose. His only losses actually were to Lost Box. Interesting. But he did beat these two in this one. So that Grant we'll call that he barely won, right? So is there other an Arceus Giratina that we could see? This one beat Azul, beat Grant, so it can beat Azul. So it can beat Azul. So that's nice to know. But guys, there we go. Also, like, late it tied this match, but definitely could have won it. So he definitely could have been like another win against Lost Box. So the real losses are here and here, not this. Don't count that one as a tie. That's a win. But yeah, guys, there we go. Test out Arceus Giratina. It's the best deck. We'll go to see it on Friday. I'm gonna start something new on Friday, which is gonna be kind of fun. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully, learn something new. Check all these websites out: Limitless, Pokestats. This is Pokestats and this is PTCG stats, which is also Pokestats. Just this is their live data kind of thing going on. Also, you can click this too and see different lists and stuff like that if you want to test this out. So, yeah, here you go. 1 tied. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. Test out Pokestats.live. Shout out to them for doing fantastic things over there. And we'll see you tomorrow for Expanded Thursday. Alrighty. Bye.